Moving on now, and ADHD was the name we seem to slap on any kid behaving badly, but now experts say they're being confronted by extreme behaviour that has needed a new label.
The wonder of childhood is universal, but unfortunately, so is this. With infinite volumes of parenting advice at our fingertips, knowing what to do when your child acts out is getting more complicated. And it seems an increasing number of Aussie kids are being given a new label. Oppositional Defiant Disorder involves persistent anti-authoritarian behaviour by a child. It includes children who are easily angered, have frequent temper tantrums, argue a lot with adults and refuse to obey rules.
It's one of the most common behavioural disorders in children, and it's probably the primary reason parents actually seek professional help from psychologists.
At the more extreme end of the spectrum, there's intermittent explosive disorder, or IED, which is characterised by extreme anger, often to the point of violence.
Children with these behaviours might actually be physically violent, they might destroy property, they might be disrespectful in all areas of their lives.
But even experts admit it's not a black or white diagnosis.
One of the dangers with diagnosing these conditions is that they can actually be part of the normal range.
As parents, we all want answers for why our children behave the way they do. But are we becoming too reliant on labels for what used to be seen as typical childish behaviour?
Dr. Justin Coulson is a parenting expert and author. Justin, how widespread are these conditions of ODD and IED?
It seems that ODD is diagnosed in around about 1 in 10 children. There'd be a lot of people who would say that's overdiagnosed, but that's what the official numbers seem to be. A little bit less for IED. The explosive disorder seems to affect around about 1 in 12 to 1 in 15 teens, but certainly they're fairly high numbers.
There's research around that says that a lot of this is to do with the parenting, some saying that a kid of a parent that was an alcoholic or had a criminal background is 18% more likely to end up with oppositional defiant disorder. How much of a role do parents play with these disorders?
Yeah, research is pretty clear. There's no doubt we have a relationship between the way a parent parents a child and the way that child behaves. In fact, if a parent is kind of an explosive kind of person, you would expect that the children would be explosive. And similarly, if they're oppositional or defiant as adults, their kids are going to follow and do that. So there's certainly a relationship. And you don't even have to be an alcoholic or have major issues yourself. You just have to be a parent who does what you do and the kids will naturally follow.
Well, mate, I'm a parent. I don't drink. I've never been in jail for longer than 12 hours. But I've got a 3.5-year-old who he gets really angry whenever we want him to do a poo on the toilet. And it's a bit, I think it's a bit weird, but when does weird turn into like a condition that you have to see a doctor about?
Yeah, that's a really, really challenging and also quite a sensitive question. You've got a 3.5-year-old. Toddlers are tough, and they will stay that way in many cases right up until the time they're 4, maybe even 5 years of age. But this idea of diagnosing a child or a teenager, it's been debated by psychologists for nearly a century. Do we or don't we put a label on the problem? Quite often the problem will be due to development, hormones, maturation and growth. But other times, it will be due to these other causes. So it's one of those things where it may be better not to give a label, but sometimes the label can give a whole lot of relief, and it can start us on the path towards making really intelligent decisions about how to help that child. Other times, people just use it as an excuse. Well, we've got a label, my child's got this, nothing I can do about it. And that is where labels become problematic.
We appreciate your insight tonight. Thank you, Justin.
Pleasure.